Hi there, and welcome back to another review. Today's film is Ballerina, directed by Lynn Wiseman and starring Ana de Armas as Eve Macaro, a assassin who carves her way through a world of contract killers to avenge the death of her father. Set in a shadowy, bullet-riddled world of John Wick, this spin-off promises action spectacle and a story on par with that of John Wick. But does it deliver on the legacy of its parent franchise, or does it just ride its coattails? Let's break it down. Quick heads up, my reviews are not spoiler free. Sometimes I skim, other times I go full spoiler. Consider this your warning. Ballerina is set between John Wick Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. It follows Eve Macaro, trained in the assassin traditions of the Ruska Roma. She takes on an army of killers and she seeks revenge against those responsible for the death of her father. 12 years after being taken in by the director and raised in the Ruska Roma, Eve Macaro is on the verge of graduating into the ranks of the Kikimora, a nod to the folklore tradition the John Wick universe has established, similar to how John Wick himself is referred to as the Baba Yaga. The title draws from the Slavic mythology of the Kikimora, a dual-natured spirit that can be either benevolent or malevolent, mirroring the assassin Eve Macaro and her role as a protector of the innocent, but a killer of the guilty. In terms of positives, the first pro I can think of is Ana de Armas is a star, plain and simple. As Eve Macaro, she brings raw physicality to the role, handling action scenes with surgical precision, while also giving Eve a deep well of emotion beneath the bloodshed. She's not just another assassin in a designer suit, she's a grieving daughter with a code and a knife to grind. It's a performance that feels lived in, wounded, and, well, dangerous. The second pro would be the graceful but gritty action. Director Lynn Wiseman leans into the Wick-style gun fu, but gives it a more fluid style that matches Eve's training. The fight choreography is what you'd expect from a film within the John Wick universe. It's fast-paced, chaotic, and just pure action fun. Now, that's not to say that this movie is without its negatives. The first con is a predictable revenge arc. As compelling as Eve's story is, the structure doesn't break much new ground. We've seen the child of a killer become a killer, wrapped in a bow of revenge story countless times before in other films, and while it's well executed here, the plot beats occasionally feel uninspired. And rather, hey, what about this chaotic set piece that action fans will be talking about for days after seeing the movie? Now I get it, fans of John Wick will probably not care as much about the nuance and storytelling, but hey, if I was only reviewing movies from a fan's perspective, then perhaps all of my movie reviews would be skewed. This brings me, of course, to the second con, the world building that feels more tease than substance. While we do get more insight into the Ruska Roma and see how the High Table's influence stretches even further than we thought, some of the John Wick's world building here feels like a setup for future spin-offs rather than a fully contained story. There are characters who clearly exist just to be revisited later, which can be frustrating in a film that otherwise keeps a tight focus on Eve. And lastly, probably the most controversial of the cons is the presence of John Wick undercuts the presence of Eve. John Wick appears in this film on several occasions, and on one occasion he quite literally saves Eve. While his presence wasn't much of a twist, I couldn't help but feel that he undermined the value and importance of Eve, the ballerina that this movie was consistently attempting to hype up. In her own right, as a character, it would have been interesting to position her in comparison with the skills and levels of the Baba Yaga, aka John Wick. Instead, we are shown that she isn't quite up to par with that of John Wick, and without his presence in the film, she wouldn't have likely achieved a sequel due to him intervening near the end of the film. In the end, Ballerina is a brutal revenge tale that slightly expands the John Wick universe while giving us a compelling new lead. Ana de Armas is electric as Eve Macaro. While the action doesn't, in my opinion, surpass that of any of the John Wick films, there were moments that were clearly pushed to show her abilities to take out multiple targets in interesting ways. The story might play it safe in terms of structure, but the execution is tight and stylish in its own right. However, this film landed at a 2 out of 5 stars for me. Sure, it serves as an interesting spin-off, but it didn't do enough, in my opinion, to secure its own movie franchise, especially as it failed to add anything substantial while being handicapped by taking place between John Wick 3 and 4. But what about you? Did Ballerina strike the right balance of action and chaos, or did it simply miss the mark? Drop your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Film Sense with Brian.